This is normally a training we do for our premium members. We do it every other week. But tonight we actually have a special guest. This gentleman's name is Timmy Teo. He says you can call him just Timmy. This is his Facebook page. And Timmy is a gentleman I had met at a leadership conference a few weeks back in, I believe we were in Columbus, Ohio. And Timmy did a presentation on social media. And when he first started out, I'm like, okay, I hear all this stuff all the time. And I just kind of sat back and was, taking a couple notes. But the more he started talking, the more I started listening and paying attention to him, because he was talking about things that I've never heard of before and other things I've never thought of in terms of the Timmy presents it. And he's got a different, a unique approach to things. And what he had to say made a lot of sense. And it all pertains to, building your social media presence and getting that long-term SEO juice for your websites. And that's, with the premium members and the premium websites, that's what we're always about, is trying to find better ways to get use out of your websites, but also, how to get the most, the most presence on the internet over the long term. And so after listening to Timmy talk at the leadership conference, I went up and I asked him if he would be willing to spend a half an hour, 45 minutes or so, and cover the same things with us that he did at the conference. And he graciously said yes. And so I appreciate your time that you're taking this evening, Timmy. So why don't you say hi, make sure we can hear you.
How's everybody doing tonight?
All right, great. They can hear you, but they're not going to be able to talk. I know Timmy already said he's willing to take questions at the end, so I think we're going to let him go for a while, and then towards the end, you guys type in your questions, and then I will repeat them back and ask Timmy his questions so he can answer them for you guys. I think what we need to do right now is switch over so that we can see Timmy's screen. So let's see. I'm going to make you the presenter.
All right.
Okay, so that should be, there we go.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, all right. Well, as Mike said at the beginning, my name is Timmy. I am the wholesaling chairperson for the Dayton, Ohio MnREIA. We met a couple of weeks back at a leadership conference in Columbus. And tonight I'm going to be teaching about Google Plus for Business. What we'll be covering tonight is how the data is structured in Google Plus versus Facebook and why it matters, strategies to re-energize old content, Google authorship in Google Plus, privacy concerns, and super cool free goodies. So in order to really understand who I am and what I bring to the conversation, I think it's important to start with who I'm not. And I am not a self-taught internet marketing guru like two of the gentlemen you see here. On the far left is Mr. Duncan Weirman, who is a grade A hacker and internet marketing genius out of the great state of South Carolina. In the middle, the bald gentleman is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Charles Blair out of Baltimore, Maryland, just a really grade A internet marketer of the highest caliber. And then that handsome devil at the end with the dreadlocks, that's me. And I'm not like the other two. And I really wish that I was self-taught, that I was smart enough to just fire off on my own and grab a hold of this new thing called social media and internet marketing and make money with it, charge clients without having to borrow $56,000 from the Department of Education. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. I am getting a bachelor's degree in internet marketing from Full Sail University. Currently, I'm taking search engine optimization this month. Next month, I'm slated to take principles of online campaign development. And the reason I start by making this distinction between the self-taught guys and myself is that my experience having seen both their presentations as well as teaching myself things is that being self-taught is a largely reactive process, meaning I need to know how to do this, and so I go off and I learn this. or I need to learn how to do that, and so I go off and I learn that. And what can happen is that you can end up with somebody who's really strong in one area and a complete dud in the other. Whereas somebody like me who's getting a degree, I find that I have a lot more firm foundation. I might not have as deep a knowledge in any one particular area like your self-taught guru, but fundamentally I'm a lot more sound. So I spent the first month of this year going to both of these gentlemen's one days. Duncan Weirman came up to speak at the Dayton REIA at the beginning of January, and Charles Blair came up to speak at the Columbus REIA at the end of January. And something that struck me like a cartoon anvil was that neither one of them talked about Google+. And I thought that was really odd. I mean, like, how are you going to have a comprehensive discussion about social media marketing and not talk about Google+? And the rationale that they both gave was that when it comes to social media, Facebook is the 800-pound gorilla, and so that's who you need to focus on feeding bananas to. And that's accurate, kind of in the same way it's accurate to say that the Pope is a priest or gold is a commodity. You know what I mean? True enough, not one false word in a bunch, but those are such gross understatements that don't even begin to communicate the significance of the head of the Catholic Church or gold's monetary history going back thousands of years. And in a similar fashion, yes, when it comes to social media, Facebook is the big fish in the social media pond. However, when you get it out into the open ocean, make no mistake about who the great white shark is. I mean, this is friggin' Google we're talking about here, not some garage startup piece of software app. They got some money, they got some engineers. Google sits firmly at the top of the internet marketing food chain. They have no natural predators. And because of Google's overarching dominance of the internet marketing industry as a whole, they are able to offer some very unique benefits to their social media platform that no one else can. Now, you see that last line at the bottom there? Google is biased towards its own products. Pay attention to that and keep that in the back of your mind because it's going to be very important going forward. So, on the surface, a lot of people try to characterize Facebook as kind of like a Google Plus rather is kind of like a Facebook clone. They look at it and say, well, I can post content, I can make events, I connect with people, like, share a friend, that sort of thing. And superficially, they are very similar. But when you have a look at the way that the data is structured, how Google itself is structured, and all of, the 60 plus products that all sort of interweave with this thing, is that when you put content or have communications with people on Google Plus in a public way, those pieces of content, those connections, those conversations, they live on the internet forever. The longer a piece of content exists in Google Plus, the more likely it is to be found and you to get connected through it. Now, I'm going to say this one more time. The longer a piece of content exists in Google Plus, the more likely it is to be found and you to get connected through it. This is exactly opposite of the way Facebook is structured. The longer a piece of content exists in Facebook, the less likely it is to be found. So a really good way of thinking about this is a one-night stand versus marriage. So the way that Facebook's data is structured, it's like a one-night stand. It's a lot of fun while it's going on, but as soon as day breaks and the last person likes or comments, that piece of content has more or less outlived its utility, and it sort of scampers off, and that's it. Whereas Google Plus, again, because of Google's overarching dominance of the industry as a whole, they structure their content like marriage, and like any good long-term relationship, it can keep producing for you month after month, year after year. And so the really cool thing about this is that when content becomes a little bit stale on Google Plus, you can very easily re-energize it and get that traffic back going again. So let's say there's things that we know we're going to do every year in our business, like MnREIA, for example. Every, September, October, Bina Jones-Cox beats the street, and she, rounds up business for MnREIA. So why would you want to go through that and earn that audience all over again? What we're going to do is we're going to take the posts that we did for last year's MnREIA, freshen them up, get that engagement going again, and reactivate that community rather than starting from scratch all over again. And so this is a really good tactic for sort of semi-evergreen content, and Google Plus is a really, really good platform for that. And I know from my own experience, when I look at a post and it already has a lot of likes, it kind of has social proof because people that I know have liked it or shared it. And so you don't want to lose that goodwill. Whereas on Facebook, once a post falls off, it's totally gone and you have to start all over again. You can take a picture that has, like, say, 50 likes. If you reshare it, it's like a brand new post all over again. And unless they click through, they're not going to realize that. And you'd be surprised just how many people will like something without actually viewing it. They'll just see that it was you who shared it, look at the headline, and they'll either like it or not like it just based on those two factors alone. And so when you have a look at the way the data is structured on both of them, it really is quite easy to see, why Google Plus is a really good platform for businesses to communicate on. So this is a screenshot from a video on one of my YouTube videos. This is actually for an assignment, and for the assignment I had to interview an industry professional. And I chose to conduct this interview over a Hangout on air. So in Google Plus, you can do these things called Hangouts, which is basically just a video chat, very similar to a Skype chat. And when you do a Hangout on air, it broadcasts that video chat live on your YouTube channel. So anyone who knows your URL and when to tune in can watch that video chat live, same as you would live television, not unlike what we're doing right now. And so the really big benefit to doing a Hangout on air is that as soon as the video chat is over, YouTube automatically renders it and posts it to your YouTube account and your Google Plus account without you having to upload anything. And it's in HD, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to upload an HD video, like even for just like, a 3-5 minute clip takes like a half hour. So having that already uploaded, it saves a lot of time. Now, have a look over here. It says streamed live on July 26, 2013. And then now go to the bottom, I got a comment from JR. And it says 2 months ago, which would have been February 2014. So I conducted this interview in July of last year, and it generated a comment, and this person did go through and circle me on Google Plus 8 months later in February. I don't know of anything that I've done in Facebook that is still generating comments 8 weeks later, let alone 8 months later. So that's really the power of Google Plus for a business. I know I'm talking to real estate investors. This would more so be for somebody like a wholesaler who is going to have a repeat customer, like a buyer who's going to buy several deals. Like if you're a retailer, maybe not as much, but if you are going to have an ongoing relationship with someone, Google Plus is just an absolute gold mine on how to cultivate that and not lose that goodwill that you work so hard for. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about Google authorship in conjunction with Google Plus. Google authorship is actually much, much larger than that. It's part of something called hypertext markup language. And so you see this, this kind of gibberish over here. This is called hypertext markup language, or HTML, and this is what search engines see. So when you type in a query into a search engine, this is what they see and what they're going to fetch. And there's ways that you can tag data inside of the content to tell the search engines exactly what it is. Is this a person? Is this a book? Is it an event? Is it an author? And there's this consortium called schema.org that is pitched in by Google and Microsoft and Yahoo that is setting and adhering to the HTML standards for the web. And so if you configure your content to adhere to this schema, you are going to get benefits everywhere. You're going to get search benefits, you're going to get communication benefits. Google authorship allows you as a human, as one person, to claim your identity online and be unique about it. So once you claim this, then anywhere you publish content online, you can also tag it in such a way that Google and Bing and Yahoo understand that this is your content. So whenever people search for you or your content, or they're connected with you in the social circles, you can get them to you that much quicker without having to wade through all of the other sort of SEO stuff that you don't necessarily want to deal with. Just a real practical example of why this is important is that a lot of people have the same name. So as Mike said at the beginning, my name is Temitayo Shinubi. My heritage is Yoruba from Nigeria and West Africa. And over here in the States, my name is all exotic. I'm the only Temitayo Shinubi in Dayton, Ohio, let alone the state of Ohio. But over in Nigeria, where my father's from, my name is very common. It's like Bob Smith, like no lie. It's a very common name. And so I just did a quick Google search for myself. And if you have a gander at these two images in the center where it says images for Temitayo Shinubi, that's not me. That is some random Nigerian who's also named Temitayo Shinubi. And so, we're of absolutely no relation, never met this person, don't know him from a can of corn, but if you type in my name and do a search, there he is. Also, if you have a look at the second to the last result for MySpace, T-Ow on MySpace, that's not me, that's him. I'm Timbo, but I'm not T-Ow. So that's just a really basic example of why it makes sense to claim your online identity. A little bit more extreme example, and I'm still looking for where I read this so I can shoot this to Vina. But I read this article a few months back. This guy goes over to his parents' house, and his mother is sobbing, crying into her hands. His father is irate, red-faced, screaming into the phone at his little sister, threatening to bring her home from college tonight. Because what had happened is that little sister called home saying that, she had just met a guy she's been dating for a few weeks, really excited about him, think he might be the one, want to bring him home for Christmas dinner and introduce him to the family. And the guy's name is Jake Steed. And for those of you who don't know, Jake Steed is also the name of a very well-endowed biracial porn star. And so the parents typed in, Jake Steed into Google and got the search results, for Mr. Footlong Dong, and proceeded to lose their minds. And of course, their daughter was not, in fact, dating a porn star, but rather just some guy who just also happened to be named Jake Steed. And believe it or not, that's actually not as uncommon as you would think. Once you get into like the agency side of marketing and start taking on clients, it's not uncommon for someone to have the same name as a porn star or a criminal or, a politician, somebody that they necessarily want to distance themselves from. And so Google authorship, makes it easy for you to do that. Like just off the top of my head, Roberts is a very common last name. Thousands of people throughout this country with the last name of Roberts. What are the odds that a few of those ladies are named Julia? Pretty good, actually. And so now, if you're an individual content producer, you just have a blog or a website, there's a plugin that you can run that is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. However, if you have a little bit more sophisticated operation, it does get more technical. So for example, I use Vina Jones Cox's website as an example. She has arigoddess.com, youbuyhouses.com, CoRe, and I use ORE as well. In the schema, there's this thing called publisher, where you can say that I am a publishing entity and I have several different web properties scattered throughout the internet. And so you can set up writers underneath that umbrella, sort of think of it as an umbrella, to where, whenever someone publishes content, the schema understands that it belongs to that organization, not to that individual. I mean, the individual is still going to get credit for it, but, if me as Temitayo Shinubi, if I write a guest post, the schema understands that the content, in fact, belongs to CoRe and not me. Now, once you get to that enterprise level, it is tech. You have got to have the technical chops to get it done. But I tells you, once you do this, the benefits are just everywhere. And so when you look at authorship as sort of an internet-wide tactic, um, it the I really can't overstate just how important it is. Like whatever you do on Facebook sort of stays on Facebook. When you get your schema up to date and claim your identity, this goes everywhere, literally. And so posts that have an author connected to them will rank higher in search results than posts that don't on an individual basis. So the old way of doing SEO was that when you did a search, it really didn't matter what you were searched for before or your personal preferences. The search engines gave you what it deemed to be the best piece of content based on information in their algorithm. Now, the way that the web works is much more knowledge and connection based. So search engines are going to take the information that they have and they're going to combine it with the knowledge that they have of you as a person, what you searched for in the past, your likes, who you're connected to, things that you watch, etc. And I know it gets really big brotherish real quick, but that's one of the really big benefits to this is that the more people that you're connected with or that are connected with you in either reciprocal way, that lets you be more relevant to those people in search. So say, for example, let's say you have a lot of friends on Facebook, you have 5,000 friends, which is a personal max. Your influence over those people is limited to Facebook, whereas if you take those same 5,000 friends and put them on Google+, then you automatically become more relevant to those people in search. So they could be on other websites. They could be doing something on a blog with AdWords installed, something like that. It all sort of takes into play who you're connected with and who's connected with you. So it's no longer just about keyword stuffing and pumping out as much information as you can. It's a true content and contact marketing strategy. That's a really good key to this, is that you got to go out there, you got to talk to people, you got to connect with them. The more you do this, the more you kind of, leave your digital trail around, the more you're going to get known as an expert and you're going to show up for those search results first. So this is a screenshot of Lynette Young's profile. Lynette Young was literally one of the first people on Google Plus when they were still in beta, like 3 or 4 hours after it was released and you needed a super geek password to get in. And she is a bona fide powerhouse when it comes to the topic of social media marketing, specific Google Plus, and she's the origin of a lot of what I'm teaching you here. So have a look here. 1,551,339 people have her in their circles. And this was as of a couple weeks ago when I was presenting this in Columbus where I met Mike. I mean, can you even fathom how far this woman's digital reach is? I mean, you could be doing anything. You could be searching for My Little Pony or whatever. If it's remotely connected to Lynette, she's going to show up first. And so that is the power of claiming your authorship and being on Google Plus, is that you're going to follow, you're literally going to follow people all across the internet, not just on Facebook. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are some very real concerns associated with being in bed with Google that I would be remiss if I did not address. So we're on the Facebook side, we cry and say, oh, we need more granular security. Well, we have that on Google+. You just have to go through and know how to use it. I'm not a fan of them turning everything on by default, like letting people message through to you by default. The good news is that it's very easy to fix. You can just go to google.com/settings. Everything's right there in very plain English, black and white. It passes the mom test. You can have your mom look at it, and if she can read it and understand this, we're pretty good. And so one thing that I did want to clear up, though, something that was a little bit sensationalized and exaggerated by, privacy advocates, is this idea that people can message you without your email account. It's exactly that. It's not emailing you without your email account. It's messaging you without your email account. And the bucket to catch these messages just so happens to be your email, because the way that Google works, once you sign up for Gmail, You have everything Google offers. You have AdWords, YouTube, Google Maps, whatever, and it's all sort of connected via your email address. And so just, like I said, go to your settings and just tone down who can connect you. And for God's sake, if you get a message from somebody that you don't know, don't reply to it, because if you hit reply, then they really do have your email address, and you gave it to them by replying. So yeah, don't do that. And on the industry side, we've kind of seen this coming for a while, the switch between siloed messaging platforms like AOL, IM Chat, and Skype, and all this other stuff. You can get all of these different types of messages on one compartment on your phone or your computer. And so this is just an addition to that. They're just taking something that they've done in one silo of Google and putting it in another. But I really don't think it's as crucial as people make it out to be. I know this comes off as really egotistical or even arrogant, and I always lose a few of my friends at this point. But I think people think too much of themselves. If you're a normal user with a couple hundred friends, the whole world isn't looking to send you spam messages. They're not singling you out. Like, I'm going to find Mike and I'm going to spam him. All these things that you hear from the privacy advocates that, oh, my inbox is flooded. These are super users. These are people with millions and millions of followers. This is Lady Gaga and Robert Scoble. This isn't normal people. So when you read this, anyone can get into your inbox, and it seems like such an invasion of privacy. Aggregately, yes, we can get into your inbox, but individually, no one cares. I'm not just sitting at my computer all day looking to randomly send people messages. So, big companies aren't segmenting you out. So, I say all that to say it's a tool for them, but it's also a tool for you to cut it off. Now that I've successfully convinced you of how insignificant you are in the grand scheme of things, I want to give you a really, really intrusive case study that is just going to make your hair stand on end, or at least it should if you care about things like privacy. So this is relatively recent. There's this article on the NewYorkTimes.com from back in February of 2012, and it's been all over the internet. You can find it on Wall Street Journal. There was even a TED Talk about it the other day. And the article goes that back in the 1980s, a research team in UCLA studied how people make really mundane purchasing decisions, like soap, toothpaste, trash bags, that sort of thing. And it found that people didn't pay very much attention at all to how they purchase these things. The purchases happen habitually and without any sort of higher level decision making. And as a marketer, this presents a real challenge because, I mean, really, how in God's name are you supposed to persuade somebody who literally is not thinking about what they're doing? The study also found that people's shopping patterns become flexible during major life events like graduating college, buying your first home, getting married, divorced, etc. And they become flexible in ways that are both predictable and potentially profitable for the savvy marketer. So for example, when someone gets married, they're more likely to buy a different brand of coffee. When they buy their first house, their brand of cereal that they purchase tends to change. And when they get divorced, they tend to buy a different brand of beer. So it's during these major life moments that people become, quote, vulnerable to intervention from marketers. And a precisely timed advertisement sent to a recent divorcee or new home buyer can change someone's shopping pattern for years. And the mother of all life moments is a new baby. And so at this point, I thought you'd all be pleased to see my urchins. This handsome gentleman at the top, this is Elijah, that's my 4-year-old. That's a picture of Vina holding my newest daughter, not my only one, but my newest baby, Gabrielle. This was at MnREIA, so she was born in August. She was only a couple months old. These are our failed attempts at Easter pictures. They just, they were not cooperating. This is Gabby, what she looks like when she's actually smiling and not screaming. And this is Gabby not looking at the camera. And so the question then becomes, how do you tell if a woman is pregnant if she hasn't said so? because not everybody does the baby register thing. If they do the baby register thing, then it's easy, but how do you tell if they haven't said so? And so this really brilliant researcher at Target named Andrew Pohl, him and his team, they combed through the data, because I don't know if you guys know this, but those loyalty cards they give you, the Kroger cards or whatever, they give you discounts on the purchases if you use your card because they're tracking your data. That's what makes you a valuable customer. You're a valuable customer, and they're willing to give you discounts because in exchange, you agree to let them look over your shoulder. And so they combed through the data, and they were able to uncover some patterns indicative of pregnancy, down to like the week. I mean, they could get very, very specific. But for example, a lot of people buy cotton balls and hand sanitizer. However, if someone buys extra big bags of cotton balls, large amounts of unscented soap, in addition to hand sanitizer and washcloths, it's a very good chance that the due date is getting close. So about an hour outside of Minneapolis, not far from where you guys are, this guy storms into Target, pissed off the Man City store manager. Store manager comes out, guy's like, my daughter got this in the mail. It's got coupons for diapers and strollers. She's 16 years old. Are you guys trying to encourage her to get pregnant? And so the store manager looks at the coupons. True enough, it's from Target. And so he says, hey, we really don't have a lot to do with this at the store level. These go out to corporate. But I'll take care of it, make sure she doesn't get any more coupons. Really sorry about it. And so the store manager calls back a couple of days later, just to apologize. Hey, I'm sorry about the other day. And the guy apologizes to him. He says, I sat down and had a talk with my daughter, and I guess there were some activities going on in my household that I wasn't fully aware of, and she's due in a couple months. Target knew that this guy's daughter was pregnant before he did. Creepy stuff, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I first read this for a case study, I was ready to move out to East Bum, Montana somewhere, fall completely off the grid. I was like, nobody's safe. There's microchips in the cornflakes. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's crazy. I mean, how intrusive is that? I mean, can you imagine? You're 16, you're pregnant, you're scared, trying to figure out how this is going to affect the rest of your life, how you're going to break it to your parents, and then you get outed by some damn coupons? Well, I'd have been so pissed. But anyway, I give you that as an example, but what I want you to take away from it is that it wasn't this sort of, covert, nefarious thing where Target slipped the NSA $100 million like, hey, we want to listen on the calls too. And so they're listening like, okay, she's sexually active now. Oops, yeah, I forgot to use a condom that last time. Well, 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 looks like somebody's period is late. All right, boys, send out the coupons. That's not what happened. I know it can feel that way because it's creepy, but that's not what actually happened. What happened was that Target identified a particular consumer behavior that was of value to them. This young lady exhibited said consumer behavior, and she got marketed to accordingly. So, I'm not here to blow smoke up your butt, ignore that man behind the curtain. That's not what I'm here to do. There are some very real privacy concerns out there. I just say it to say that it really is not as malicious or nefarious as the privacy advocates can make it seem. So, fight the urge to fall off the grid and move out to East Bum, Montana, because it really isn't that serious. And so, tips and goodies. Know what you want out of the platform. It is a very robust platform, so it's easy to get overwhelmed. But you don't have to be all things to all people. You just have to be good at what you do. That was a joke. I said do. A 4-year-old likes that. So I almost always recommend that people do video or share video. Video is a really meaty piece of content. Search engines love it. They can really sink their teeth into it. And with the Hangout on air, makes doing a video really, really easy. post a lot, share other people's content, join communities, participate. Basically, just leave your digital trail around. The more that you leave your digital trail around, the more that you are going to get seen as an expert, and the more you're going to go up through the ranks for that topic. Now, as I said before, Lynette Young, it's where I'm getting a lot of this. I follow her on Google Plus, and if you're interested in Google Plus as a platform, I highly recommend you follow her as well. Her company is purplestripe.com. On the rare occasion her hair is actually purple, it's been purple, green, blue, whatever. But just go to purplestripe.com/extras. She has PDFs and white papers and cheat sheets and a whole bunch of stuff where you can really get a lot of mileage out of Google Plus, and it's just a wealth of information. purplestripe.com/extras. And that's about it. Questions?
Hey, Timmy. Can you hear me?
Mike? Yeah, I'm here. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I just muted myself. Thank you. That was great. I needed to hear that a second time because the first time I heard it, it blew my mind and got me thinking about so many different things. I do have a couple questions for you, and for the rest of you guys, if you have questions as well for Timmy, if you want to just go ahead and type into the question box on your, you should have somewhere on your screen a little control box or dialog where you can open up and there's a spot to type in questions. If you want to just type in the questions, and then I can relay them to Timmy here. So if you guys want to do that right now, and I have a couple I want to hitch up with here first of all. From what I gathered from what you were talking about, the difference between like Facebook and Google Plus, the big difference would be something like if I wanted some quick attention and I want a quick response for something, for example, like you were doing this webinar tonight. So at the last minute this afternoon, I posted on Facebook, hey, join us for some social media stuff that you guys need to hear with good friend Timmy. That's more appropriate on Facebook than Google Plus, or what would your opinion be there?
To a point, yes. Yes and no. The big takeaway of Facebook versus Google Plus is that the things you put on Google Plus is going to linger. So like I said, if you just need something real quick, you just need to blast it out to people, Facebook is a good platform from that. You can do the same thing on Google Plus as well. It's just with the understanding that after a period of time, the more that they post, the more they interact, that content is just going to fall off and go away. Whereas on Google Plus, it can linger for months or even years after the initial post.
Well, and that's where I was going to follow up with that, is because as I'm following you, or as I'm understanding this right now, because I don't have a presence on Google Plus yet. I maybe got 20 followers and 20 or 30 followers, and it's only because they keep asking me to follow them, and I hit okay. I'm just now starting to understand this. But I got 4,000, 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I want to get the word out that we're going to do this webinar tonight. But if we were to do, for example, if we were to do this on Google Hangouts where we could record it, where maybe you did this presentation and I followed up with questions, that got recorded and that got put onto Google Plus. The quick announcement to get attention was Facebook, but I want the actual video for content and for training purposes on Google Plus more so than on Facebook.
Exactly.
Okay, good. And then the next thing I want to figure out is I do have Hangouts. I just need to figure out how to tie. Is that all automatically tied together with our YouTube, or how does that work? Like, say if I wanted to interview you maybe some other time for 5 minutes on one specific topic, and I want to do it a Hangout and then post it onto YouTube and get it out to the Google Plus for future training purposes. How would somebody go about doing that?
You have to go through a specific link. Like if we tried to do a regular Hangout just right now without going through the on-air Hangout, it wouldn't record. So you just go to google.com, just Google Hangout on air, and it'll take you to the page and you start an on-air Hangout. And so when you go through that link, of course you have to be logged into your Gmail, so you're logged into your account. And then when you go to start your first on-air Hangout, it is going to ask you to verify your account. It's going to send you a text message, to connect everything. Um, like with most Google products, it's there by default. You just have to go through and activate it. So once you go through and activate it, and it'll force you to do that before it lets you broadcast, then you can go ahead and do the Hangout on air. By default, it makes it public, but it does not have to be public. So you can create a circle to where it's just your premium members or whoever, and then just hit the little X on the public button and share it just with your premium members. So you can make it, semi-private, but it has to be through that specific link. You can't just do it or else it won't record. But once you just, like I said, just search Hangout on air, go through the link. Once you do it, it'll walk you through the setup, and you're good to go.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm definitely going to be setting that up. And I got a bunch of people asking, what is Hangout? Can you explain that to everyone?
Hangout is just Google's answer to Skype. It's a video chat. Once you're logged into your Google, matter of fact, you guys can still see my screen. I'll just pull it up real quick. Clicking OK. I don't want to leave the logo no. Can you still see my screen, Mike?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So this is my Gmail, and in your Gmail, there's this little matrix here, this little 9-box matrix here. You click it, and it has all of the different apps to, Google, YouTube, whatever. This one here is for Google Plus. So you click it, and this is what your Google Plus is going to look like once it finally comes up. And it's going to ask me to go through all of this. I don't really use this other than for business, so I haven't had it set up yet. But anyway, once you're in your Google Plus, on the side there, you have your home, your profile, everything there. And you can get it from two separate places. You can, on the right here, it says Hangouts, and then you can go to it, and then you can do Hangouts from there. Now, like I said, I don't really use this particular account for anything other than business, so I don't have a lot of people in my circles. I haven't really set it up. But once you add people to your circles that you can start a video hangout, and you just pick somebody, and then you click down here where it says Start Hangout, and it's like a Skype. It's just like Skype. It's like a Skype chat. And like I said, if you want to do it on air, you have to go through a special link, which is right here. And so go to Hangouts on air, and then you click Video Hangouts on air. And again, a Hangout is just what Google calls a video chat. Skype calls it a Skype chat, video chat, whatever you want to call it. It's right there. And so you do that, and then you can start a Hangout on air. And like I said, by default, it's going to go to public, but you can just X that out and then add people in your circles. And that is it. But yeah, a Hangout's just a video chat.
It's their upgraded version from Google Talk, because it used to be Google Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
yeah, they go through different iterations because they've tried the social media things 2-3 times before they actually landed on Google Plus. There was Google, what was it, Google Wave or something like that. They've given it a couple whirls before they actually landed to where they are now. So this is just the latest iteration of it.
Yep, and I've always used, well, I shouldn't say always, but I've used Google Talk for many years because it's actually a great business tool. We use it in the office and for business stuff where we need to send files back and forth and all that kind of stuff. And then last year they changed the Hangout, and once they changed it to Hangout, it got to the point where I didn't quite understand what was going on because it's all video. It's like I don't do a lot of video, so I just kind of stopped using it because of the changes they made. Let's see. I got a couple more questions here for you. So Andrew is asking, it says Google Plus pages seems to be a nightmare when one needs to change an address. Is there a Google Plus for dummies? Maybe a starter website or someplace where somebody can get a little basic training on Google Plus?
Your best bet for that is actually going to be lynda.com. Lynda.com, it's really inexpensive. I want to say it's like $40 a month, something like that. And they've got training on absolutely everything that you could possibly want. The SEO, website building, Photoshop, WordPress. I mean, it's all kind of right there. So and it will take you, because I actually have a membership to lynda.com through Full Sail University. Like some of my assignments for school are actually to watch the tutorials on the site. So, and it will walk you through beginner all the way to advanced. So whatever you want to do, you can find it on lynda.com, and if it's SEO or Google Plus or whatever, and they got a really good one on here. Let's see. I think there's a lady named Lori Thomas Ross. She does a training on there. But Google Site Essential. So they got essential trainings up and running with that. Anyway, yeah, lynda.com. I'll go there.
I'm going to check that one. I've never seen that one before. I've heard of it, but I've never been to the site. I'll definitely be checking that one. Okay.
And you see here they color coded skill levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced. Okay. I mean, lynda.com, for the money, I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. It's cheap. It's like $35, $40 a month, something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be checking that one out myself. Okay. Now this one is from Mike. Is there a way to separate your personal life from what you want to put out there for your business?
Absolutely. When you do your schema, like I said, that was the example I was giving. There is this thing in schema called publisher, and that is at the enterprise level. Now, I don't recommend it if you don't have a particularly sophisticated organization, because it's a lot of a headache. Like it makes sense if you're like the Discovery Channel and you own Travel Channel and you own History Channel, blah blah. But if you're just, you know, an individual content producer, you got a website, a blog, whatever, I would just set up 2 personal ones as opposed to, you know, the other schemas, because the whole point of schema is to claim your identity online. So you can claim your personal identity, and then you can claim your business identity and keep those completely separate. But I do not recommend that you do the enterprise level unless you have an organization that warrants it, because again, it is tech. You're gonna get, you know, you're kind of getting into the weeds at that point. So if you're just an individual investor, just make 2 of them.
Okay. All right. And then let's see. Victor was asking, can you post YouTube videos to the Google Plus, the Google Hangouts, or Google Plus? I mean, like Google Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Once you do a Hangout on air, that's what I was saying. It'll automatically render that video to both your YouTube account and your Google Plus. So without you having to do anything, like for example, if this were a Hangout on air as opposed to a go-to training, as soon as we hung up, and it takes some time to process it, like 30-40 minutes later, it would automatically post it to both places. So it'll post it to Mike's YouTube account, and it would also post it to Mike's Google Plus.
Okay, so now if I have a Google Plus and a YouTube account, and I post a video on YouTube, does that automatically get posted onto Google Plus?
No, only when you do a Hangout on air.
Okay.
So if you have a video on YouTube that you previously uploaded, but it's not a Hangout on Air, then you would have to, get the link and post it, same as you would on Facebook. But only when you do a Hangout on Air, it will automatically post to both locations.
Okay. So if you're just uploading to YouTube, then you got to manually go and add it to Google+. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Let's see. I think I got one more unique question here. This one's from Mike. Is there any way to remove old content if it stays out there forever?
You would have to go back and just go. If you have a video, if it's a video, you go on your video manager. If it's on your profile, you just have to go all the way back through. If it's still generating content, it's really easy to do at that point, because as soon as you get the comment or whatnot, the comment, the like, or share, you'll get that notification. And if you don't want it up anymore, the next time you get a notification, you just delete it.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions real quickly? I think I've covered, there's a bunch of them in here, but most of them are all the same. A bunch of them about what is the Hangout and then the YouTube stuff. So I think we covered those. Okay, so I think that's it for the questions. Well, with that, I really, really, really appreciate your time. I know everyone else does.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
And I just want to thank you again. And if you're always welcome to come back, as not only are you a wealth of information, you're also very entertaining. So that's why I love talking to you.
I try. I do my best. I know it's rough in the evening. You've been working all day. You got kids, and you hop on these things. I mean, I don't know how many Avenas I fell asleep on. Don't tell her that. But I don't know how many I'm snoring and whatnot. So I try to keep it light.
Yeah, I've been there and done that too. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. I just want to. We have a lot of people on the call tonight that are not actual premium members, and this is normally a training we do bi-weekly, or every 2-3 weeks. We do a training for our premium members, and so this one here I decided to open up to everyone. So not everyone is a premium member. So I just want to take a minute and share with you guys a little bit about the premium stuff, the premium membership. For those who are premium members, you do not need to stick around for this. Let me see, I'm just switching things back over. I think we're good to go there. So premium members, you don't need to stick around, but for those of you who are interested, I just want to explain to you guys what the premium membership is. If you're a REIA member, it doesn't matter which REIA you're with, as long as you're on this training, you're more likely with one of the REIAs that's part of our network through Real Estate Promo. You guys, if you're a member of the REIA, you automatically get a free website. And then we have a premium upgraded website where you can create custom pages. We have the co-marketing feature. This is a great feature for people who are trying to build their buyers list, where you can find other properties from other members and request permission to market their properties. It's a little bit more complicated, and there's more information on how that co-marketing all works, but it literally gets you an option agreement on that property, so you have an equitable interest in the property. And there's the how-to training is back there in the how-to section, and also when you find the co-marketing area in the My Property section once you've activated your free websites. But this is the co-marketing is for premium members. We also have the repair estimate worksheet. This is the worksheet where you set in the default settings, and then it also has a mobile version, so you can put it on your phone and go into a property and just hit some check boxes, enter some quantities, and it does most of the calculations for you, and it spits out your actual repair estimate. And then it'll crank out, just off of that, it'll crank out the scope of work for you, so you can use the scope of work to submit for making your offers on properties, as well as printing out scope of work for the contractor. If you've got an offer accepted, you can hand that off to the contractor and say, this is the scope of work that we put the bid on. Just use this as a rough idea of what we want to do, so the contractor knows what you're expecting and the level of repair that you were looking to have done in the first place. Then there's also the single family property analyzer, and this is basically a glorified net sheet, and we use it so you can sit down, put in all the information about the property, the details, the purchase price, the asking price, the property taxes, what, if there is a current mortgage on there, it's got the mortgage calculator so you can calculate out the mortgages. It actually does some mortgage blending if there's multiple mortgages, so you can figure out, the number if they make sense. And then back payments for taxes, or maybe they're behind on the mortgage payment. It'll calculate that all in, as well as a few other miscellaneous things. It also pulls in the repair estimates, and it gives you a net sheet. Maybe sometimes that's upside down. What we use that for is, like, a lot of times the sellers see that the property is worth 200, and they want $200,000 firm for their property. Well, we know that they're not going to get $200,000. You take out the realtor commissions, and just because you're going to ask 200 doesn't mean you're going to get 200. So it does an average in there, and then it calculates out the holding costs, and that's including all the utilities and everything else that's involved in the holding costs that most people don't think about, which consumes more than the realtor commission does for the average property for the holding costs. Works through all that, and it comes down, and it might show the seller, what? Even if you sold at 200, you might only net 150. So if I was to buy your property, would you take the 150? So we use that as a tool to negotiate and get the price down to a level where the seller, can understand it, rather than us coming right out and throwing a lowball offer at them. It's not really a lowball offer, but if you don't have any data to back up your offer, then the seller just thinks you're just lowballing them, and they don't like that. So if you guys are interested in signing up for the premium sites, you just log into your REIA. I don't care which REIA you're part of: MnREIA, NoxREIA, Iowa REIA, TRIA, CoREIA, Michigan, Wisconsin. There's a bunch of different REIAs through our network. Whoever you're with, just log into the REIA, get logged in, and go to My Account, and then go find the link that says Premium Features. And here's where it's going to show what the premium features are, what it's all about, and the difference between a premium site and the basic free sites that most of you have access to, unless you're not a member. If you're not a member, you don't get the free ones, but you will be able to do the premium site. It's just a little bit more money for the premium sites. And then for this training, we are waiving the setup fee. So there's a coupon code that you can use. Just click on that, and then click on where it says have a coupon code. Just click on that right there and type in the code REIA setup. So that's REIA setup, REIA setup, and then hit apply the code, and that's going to get you a $199 discount. So it's basically waiving the setup fee. Now, if you're not a premium, if you're not an active member and you choose to get the premium site, it's going to be a lot more money. I think it's $249 at the moment. Then you're still going to get the $199 discount. You're just going to have to pay a little bit higher on the premium for the setup. But for the active members for the REIA, you will get the full setup fee waived tonight if you do it off of this training video. And then once you've done that, just hit recalculate, and then that'll change the total. So then the total will just be the first month's payment for the premium site, and then just hit checkout. There is no long-term contracts. You guys can cancel at any time. Premium members have a ton of training videos in the back end, as well as we do this training a couple times a month. Usually it's where I'm just walking you through, showing you how to do setup stuff and how to do some of the more basic or more advanced stuff with your websites, and getting some marketing, working with properties, building your buyers list, that kind of stuff. And then occasionally we'll have special treats like we had tonight with Teo on here talking about some really cool stuff that, with the Google Plus stuff, I did not know any of this stuff, and I am telling you right now, I'm definitely going to be working on focusing and improving my Google Plus. I'm not going to give up on Facebook, but I know that the value in Facebook is a totally different thing, and for what our purposes, I think the Google Plus, from the way Teo described it, is the way to go. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I'll leave this up here on the screen so you guys can, who are not premium members and want to take advantage of that tonight, can take care of that now. If you just write down that code, so in case you need to do it a little bit later, or the screen goes off before you get to it, that you still have that code, and it's REIA setup. So with that, thank you very much, Teo, and thank you everybody for joining us on this training, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.